What can I say except welcome to Prank Week.
I'm the man, I got the plan. When it hits the fan, do all I can, do all I can.
Hello pranksters, welcome back to another deck profile today, once again covering the latest rendition of my Prank Kids deck profile for October of 2020, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this will mark the introduction to Prank Week of 2020. Now, if you're not sure what this is actually something entirely new that I'm starting, where I'm going to have a week of nothing but Prank Kids content because as of right now, Prank Kids are actually becoming super popular thanks to the upcoming release of Phantom Rage. So I'm going to be giving you guys 3 different parts to this Prank Week, which is going to be the deck profile for Prank Kids, as well as a deck breakdown, or more so of a guide, a deck guide, and then finally at the end of the week will just be a bunch of different techs and actually like playing with the deck so I can teach you guys and do some combo tutorials as well. So the in-depth guide and the combo tutorials will be a bit lengthier. This one's just gonna be like a normal deck profile, so like the normal length and time, but be sure to look forward to those other videos. And before we go and jump into this one, don't forget to check out all the stuff in the description at the end of the video, including links to all the other channels I'm involved in, like the Coalition of Scrubs, Team Chaos Stream, and as well as all the other creators I'm involved with, and my own podcast and all sorts of other stuff down there for you to go check out. Just go look at the description at the end of the video. Everything's all laid out right there for you to go check out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's Prank Kids deck profile. You don't by any means need to stick to this. This is just the way I play the deck, and I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of easy one card starters. I think there's a total of like 17 or 18 to the deck that will just start off your plays right off the bat and you can just get going. And then there's a whole bunch of extenders and a few hand traps past that. So let's go ahead and get into this deck profile today. So of course, box standard Prank Kids deck, you got to have your 3 copies of Prank Kids Roxy's, your 3 copies of Prank Kids Lampsies, 3 copies of Prank Kids Dropsies, and finally 3 copies of Prank Kids Fansies. Now, for once, these are not the only monsters that I'm playing in the deck. I do actually have more monsters. So for our only set of extenders, we do also have 3 copies of Parallel X-Seed to be able to pull off some more shenanigans throughout the game. Next up, for our hand traps, we have 3 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being, so we can be able to stop our opponent, especially if we're going second. This deck really does want to go second, but you can honestly play first and still have the Nibiru just fine. And then, of course, we have our 3 copies of Effect Veiler. We do have Infinite Impermanence in the side deck. That's why we're running Veiler in the main deck, because it's just a lot easier to use with Roxy's and drawing off of pranks and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of reasons to run Effect Veiler. I'll get into that in the in-depth guide. And now let's go ahead and move on to the spell cards here. So we are running 3 copies of Prank Kids Place. Just another way to get into your Prank Kids monsters to be able to start your plays. 1 copy of Terraforming to help you search your place. 1 copy of Reasoning to be able to help you get into your Prank Kids monsters, because it's very likely that your opponent will not be able to guess the right level and have you send the monster to the graveyard. And then we have 2 copies of Prank Kids Pandemonium. I used to only run this at 1, but I've kind of started to see why running it at 2 is valuable. I wouldn't really recommend running it at 3, though, because it's so easy to search. 1 copy of Prank Kids Pranks, just because, once again, you can search it, and it's not really as needed. It's just a good little bonus to be able to shuffle back a few resources and get a couple of cards. So we also have 3 copies of Polarization to be able to get into our fusion summons. This is actually, honestly, an extender. You don't really need it as a play starter anymore, which is super nice, but I really love having it at the same time because it allows you to get into some crazy plays, including getting our rival Cybers with a Battle Butler with 2 board wipes. So, I mean, that right there is awesome. So we also have 2 copies of Thunder Dragon Fusion, a really spicy tech I learned from Battle Butler. Once again, I'll get more into that in the in-depth guide. And then we have 2 copies of Double Summon, just a way to extend past our first normal summon, especially if our first normal summon, when we link it, gets ashed. You know, we have the means to be able to go into another one and link it to our do, which is great. And then 1 copy of 1 for 1, another means to start off your Prank Kids plays, because this allows you to special summon your Fansies from deck, which is just a way to get started with your combos. We have 1 copy of Pot of Avarice, just because you don't really need it too much. There's enough recurability in this deck. The Pot of Avarice is just a nice little bonus, especially for the monsters that don't have Prank Kids names, and you need a way to be able to shuffle those back. So definitely handy there. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, thanks to the Forbidden Limited list. 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, third one in the side deck. 2 copies of Prank Kids Plan. This allows you to reshuffle or sort back all of your Prank Kids monsters that are in the graveyard, or all your Prank Kids cards, to be honest, and to be able to lower your opponent's monsters' attack points. So, Plan, I love it too. Do not run at 3 or 1. please run a 2. Like, it's the most optimal. And then 1 copy of Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which you'll see once we get to the extra deck. So we'll go ahead and go onto the extra deck now. I'll just get this 1 rank 4 monster out of the way, because it's the only Exceed monster we have in the extra deck. Is 1 copy of Trap Tricks for Fleecia for the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, thanks to Parallel Exceed. Once you link summon your first monster and you can pull out that Parallel Exceed, you can just go straight into Trap Tricks for Fleecia, so that way you have protection from Nibiru, or if nothing else, you can use it as disruption against your opponent next turn. So for Fleecia, actually really handy, especially with the Parallel Exceed. You kind of need it. So that out of the way, we'll go ahead and move on to the fusion monsters, because they're all Prank Kids. There's a few non-Prank Kids monsters in the links. So, of course, 2 copies of Rocket Ride, always essential for any Prank Kids build. 1 copy of Weather Washer, and 2 copies of Prank Kids Battle Butler, your Raigeki for the deck on a quick effect tribute. Super, super awesome. That's it for our fusions. Once again, I'll cover all these guys more in the in-depth guide so you guys can learn how this deck functions. And then for the Link monsters, we have 1 copy of Link Haribo, 2 copies of Prank Kids Meow Meow, still coming out in Phantom Rage. It is not out in person yet, but I will have my 2 copies, don't you worry. That's the only reason I'm doing this digitally and not in person. 1 copy of Predaplant Verte Anaconda for the Thunder Dragon Fusion, 1 Prank Kids Bow Wow Bark, 2 Prank Kids Dodo Doodle Doo, and 1 copy of Prank Kids Rip Roar Roaster. And finally, to finish off the extra deck, is 1 copy of the Prank Kids' biggest boss monster, the Arrival Cyberset Agnistra. I've easily been able to get this guy to be a 5k body, and as well as it being unaffected by card effects and being able to get a pop every turn. It's just, Arrival Cyberus is an insane boss monster for Prank Kids, and it's honestly a lot easier for it to pull off than the Agnistra strategy. So, guys, don't forget to check out the videos later this week. This is, like I said, this is the first installment of a series of 3. I'll have the next 2 coming out throughout this week. Not sure when exactly. I'm going to try my best to get them all out on a regular time. Subscribe to this channel and click that bell notification so you guys can get the notification for when I release the in-depth guide and the comment tutorial here later on in the week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate all your support. You guys have been killing it so far on this channel. We are actually really close to 200 subscribers, so please try to kill that subscribe button so we can get to 200 and get our 200 subscriber special. I love each and every one of you so much. Thank you so much for supporting me again. Before I keep on rambling, I'm just gonna end the video. So thanks for watching, and guys, remember to have fun and make your move. Peace out.
I'm a love giver.